Good morning. Truth Disclosure 369 in the house once again. Been a minute, but all is well. Back on here for a minute. Midnight the Battle Cat sitting back here blending in. Before I get on here to do what I'm going to do, I always get on here and greet those that may come across this video. May not be a soul come across this video, but whoever do, I greet you in the universal words of peace. I just want to get on here, basically to just do one of my little rants and just basically just speak on the unfortunate circus that many people are forced to live through. And the crazy thing about it is, here it is, it's November the 20th, 2022. I know personally, just we take it back to these last couple of years because these have been the most influential in the breaking down of moral, honest, uh, positive circumstances or feedback that could possibly be experienced in the last, and there has been nothing but constant. Starting off with number one, there's been constant death. There's been constant confusion, constant judgment, people judging and going at each other, constant hypocrisy, constant misinformation and propaganda, constant manipulation of legitimate grievances that once they fall in the hands of those who have interior motives, the original essence of that grievance loses its traction and becomes more of a detriment to the same people that offered up the grievances, but they allowed those grievances to be offered up to prying eyes and so-called powers that be that hold them in their grasp due to financial priviness, due to titles and labels and resources they have available. All this shit, man, for the last fucking 3 years. Because this thing just started, and it started 19 was the beginning, and then as we went into 2020, all hell started to break loose. And the sad thing about it, it seemed like all hell has broken loose, and people are the ones really causing the hell to continue to flourish because they're allowing these people who they are basically backing and promoting their own fucking demise due to these fake ass and I constantly say it, due to these fake politicians, these fake institutions that have been corrupted for a long ass time. How a person could sit here and try to justify and run off rhetoric about what the fuck this institution is for, and that been, of course, when you read books and when you come up from from a certain aspect of life, come up through school learning how this is supposed to work. Supposedly, you're taught this by your parents, your grandparents, people around you. Supposedly, you're taught this shit in school. Supposedly, this is all how this shit's supposed to work. But how can you sit here and justify majority of the bullshit that's being that's people are being impacted with? For a person to sit here and say they're not being impacted by any of this stuff that's happening in the world, and you don't even have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be asking, well, what's going on? You know, you got some people who in Never Land somewhere that act like they don't know what's going on, but you fucking you're a fucking liar. You are straight up lying. I'll say that to anybody face. I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress. Yes, I'm guilty of every fucking thing that I'm putting out here. And I still got a way to go. But for a person to literally sit here and say that this is good what we're going through, we see the change, anything that motherfuckers talking about as far as trying to give some type of legitimacy to everything that's been happening, including health, educational, to the social impact. To say that you are not impacted by anything that's happening across this planet and stand on that shit, you are a fucking liar. Whether at the job, whether in your community, whenever you go to the gas station, whenever you go to the grocery store, whenever you're dealing with your tax returns, whenever you're dealing with filing taxes, you know, all the little bullshit that coming with that. Whenever you're dealing with any of this shit, to the elections, to all this shit, whether you deal in crypto, whether you don't deal in crypto, you know, all this bullshit, whether you say you have not been affected by none of this shit that's going on, I don't care if you're a person that really got, you know, probably a little bit better off than some people, which would be considered, I guess, one of the wealthier classes or whatever. You still are dealing with some fucking shit. You are affected somewhere by this bullshit going on. And to deny it, you are fucking lying. So I just want to get on here and just kind of get on here and do my little ever so often rants, because this shit, how can you I can't understand how so-called smart people, intelligent folks, all these doctorate holders and all these folks sitting up talking about they go get a job and get more education and all that shit and do all this other shit. And what the fuck purpose, what good is that going to do when all of that energy, all of those aspects of that is put forth and sucked up into a system that is using that shit for the detriment of the exact same people that's screaming that bullshit? Don't get it. Don't get it. Don't get it. It's ridiculous. It's sad. It's hurtful, because every time I speak on this stuff, I speak on it because I know how it is, because I know how loved ones close to you and how people look at certain things and how they, you know, they just, it's like in the words of Yahshua, Jesus, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And it's hard to accept that sometimes, but you have to look at it in that way, like, man, so many people, man, are gone, man, when it comes to having a critical thinking aspect, which is a logical sensory built in by the creator, man, to be able to sit up and functionally ask the tough questions, speak up for yourself, stand on your own ground, not falling for shit. This is stuff that inherently is built in to us, but it seems like it's fleeting. It's like everybody's in a hive mind state. So with all this crap going on, you can take your pick with all the crap that's going on in society. I'm gonna go to a couple of it's like, where did we go? What's next? You know, let me go. We start off with an 80-year-old supposed president that's representing everybody, but yet, I mean, right here, this is just a prime example How are these people that talk all this shit in this fucking country that claim they talking about all these values of moral and Christian and Judeo Christian or however it go, however a person want to look at it. How the hell do you sit up and even look at these circumstances dealing with uh uh Biden in every and the person to sit here and say anything you know uh any different on this aspect, you're lying. If this man was in my family at this age doing the same shit that he was doing, he would be under total care, whether a home nurse or a lot of people put they family in nursing homes and senior living centers. If this man was in people's family, they would not be wanting him to be out there with that much stress pressure on him. So what's the difference between oh well, some people may say, well, they have better medical insurance, they have better medical. Well, that's wrong. If to even speak on some stuff like that, why should the people that's supposedly in power have better medical care or access to those type of resources than everybody else? Everybody else got to be on second, third, fourth best shit, if you even get any of it. But if this was going on in somebody else's circle, they would be having a upheaval. Like, no, dad gotta be at, or mom gotta be in the nursing home, or we gotta get somebody care aid for him or her. We would be doing this, not sitting up having them make decisions for important decisions just for your family or circumstances dealing with your family. People know that shit. So why would you look at this shit any different? You got it's ridiculous, man. Man has been proven over and over he's not fit as far as he's in decline due to his age and everything else. But it seems like don't nobody want to talk about that shit. Second, since people know this shit and see it, who the fuck really calling the shots? Everything he repeats is shit that a motherfucker already know he's gonna repeat. Basically, it's all lies, like any other rest of them. But who the fuck is really calling the shots when people know, looking directly at the footage, looking at all the different um uh, uh, incidents that have happened with him falling, with him um, acting like he's suffering from the early stages of dementia and Alzheimer's, however you want to call it, just lost. Who the fuck really? That's really what people should be asking. But instead of doing that, everybody want to continue to jump in line on a side, arguing back and forth about shit that has proven no fucking benefit to the masses, to the whole population as a whole, because of all the deep-rooted inconsistencies, the lies, the ability to manipulate people into pointing the finger so that everybody will always place the blame on somebody else. But really, to be honest, everybody should be pointing the finger right back at themselves, because you sat here and allowed all this bullshit to happen. You agreed with it. You voted for people who said one thing all these years, not just in one particular administration. And then once she did it, they start doing shit. Now everybody looking crazy, but everybody want to stand on their side of the fence and act like their side of the fence is the most glorious and the saviors of the moment, when everything is still falling down all around. How do you explain that to all the educated, to all the so-called uh, uh, religious people, of the communities and all this stuff. All of the social workers and social philosophers and psychological assessors and all that stuff. All that stuff. How do you even break that shit down? So you got people really involved in insanity, really fucking around with shit that over and over again with no fucking change whatsoever. People would sit up here arguing. And for example, let's talk about the immigration. People would sit up here just because that's one of the talking points that have always been on the opposite. The one side claim this country is good for people to come in, but yet at the same time don't want to speak on what about all the negative shit that come with that. The other side, that's all they want to talk about, the negative shit. Just people coming over here and how do you ever get somewhere with that type of argument? The border will still be open. People will still be coming through here, doing whatever, sicknesses and whatever else getting through. You'll still have motherfuckers shipping people to other states because they tired of all this stuff being done in their state, and they're not getting they're not being heard in Washington or whatever. You'll still have that shit. So when is the motherfucker really gonna have a complete solution to that? We're never gonna have that shit. Long as motherfuckers continue to buy into this corrupt ass system, man. All over the fucking planet. There's shit going on. Respective countries, everything, man. Makes no sense at all. People are up in arms in other countries dealing with their governments and all these uh, mandates and all this shit dealing, and all of it is covered up under the guise of climate change, pandemics, health emergencies, the democratic institutions claiming that shit that's happening is undemocratic. When these same institutions are doing some of the most undemocratic shit on the planet, and people still buy into that shit. How do you do that shit? You got you got this shit going on. You got motherfucking people who have lost money, lost investments, dealing with this FTX. For those who may not know what that is, with that crypto shit. The first thing folks want to say, well, that crypto shit wasn't right anyway. It may be not. What's so safe about the American dollar in this fiat currency system and the current stock market system? All this shit. That shit ain't worth a damn either. And for a motherfucker to sit up there and say it is, you fucking lying. You're a fucking liar. You can be in stock trading for 50 fucking years. If you sit up here and you say that shit is legitimate, that people haven't been fucked over doing that shit, that every time these motherfuckers create all these fucking anomalies within the financial sector with a lot of these bad moves, that people with hedge funds, people who really are controlling the whole stock market manner, with the Federal Reserve, all these centralized, private, independent sources manipulating the fucking stock market. You put your investments in on certain shit. You lose them when they play these fucking games. And then you want to sit up and call crypto out? Get the fuck out here. You got to have, for a motherfucker to have some type of, you got to have some type of walk on water imagery if you in that shit, meaning you know exactly what stocks to go to, which ones really are going to pay off at the end, because most of the time they are places that are heavy. They're main groups, main institutions, or main companies or whatever. But here it is, you had these motherfuckers here a entity that was providing one of the political parties with so much finances to help in a midterm, and then all of a sudden it crashes. People's money come up missing. They throwing all the blame on my man, and then Friedman, and then some other young girl that, but everybody's money still missing. The Democrats managed to get through their primary, through their election midterms with with a majority of the wins. You know, were they aware that it was fraudulent practices used to do this? Of course they were. For a person to sit here and say they would that any of these motherfuckers didn't know that shit, fuck that. I've been saying this for a while, and I just say it because it's in my heart. I feel it. I don't give a fuck. I haven't had one of these folks show me this shit, but it's almost fucking evident that this shit is real. These folks are only working for those fucking groups and institutions, even the ones that screaming all this bullshit about, oh yeah, we need to rally in the rich and make them pay higher taxes and all that shit. They've been screaming that shit for how many years? Elizabeth Warren and the rest of these motherfuckers and motherfuckers in the squad and all these so-called actors that supposedly give a damn or whatever. They've been screaming this shit for how many years? They are not going to challenge or cut off what's funding them and keeping their lives comfortable at the expense of everybody else's. That's why it's so easy for these motherfuckers to talk about climate change. And a lot of people been bringing that shit up. How can these motherfuckers constantly talk about climate change, talk about this, that, and the third, but yet the same motherfuckers that sit up and take unnecessary ass trips on these jets and do different shit that's not that the shit that they explain to everybody that they want you to be aware of, they're doing the same exact fucking shit. And people sit up here and they down themselves, blame themselves and others around them, they neighbor and shit about what the fuck they not doing and what they should do that's better. Listen to these clowns, and they doing the exact same fucking shit. This is sad. This is so fucking sad. And the thing about it is spiritual. It is a war between good and evil, a war between light and dark, a war between those that have a soul and have a connection to God and those who don't have a connection to God, but maybe have a soul. Some may not have a soul. The way it is sometimes, almost like there is a segment out here that are just soulless. They just don't care. They have no compassion, no empathy. They have no consideration for others. They have no connection to reality and what is happening, and are so detached from the struggles and everything that's going down. I mean, so it is a fucking war. It's almost like it's a war, which it ain't almost like, it fucking is. It's a war between who gonna wake up or who are awakened, not woke, who are awakened to the reality that we call life. I mean, and I always meditate on this shit. Like, who the fuck in the world would continue to want life to be handed out like this? Or life ain't fair. Life ain't this. Life ain't that. People want to justify that shit by saying dumbass shit like that. Life ain't fair. So because a motherfucker believes life ain't fair, it's cool for people to be murdered, mistreated, have their resources and savings and all this shit stolen, taken advantage of, be made a fool by following fucking guidelines by people that's breaking the same shit they telling you to do. How how the fuck is that of any consequence? How is that any bringing any fucking legitimate reassurance? You putting your ass on the line, denying shit and sacrificing while the motherfuckers is telling you to do it. Hey, you know, fuck out of here, man. It's really sad that we are in this, and it hurts because I know family, everybody else has been victimized by this fucking shit, and many of us are at fault for it. We have been sitting here taking sides. We have been sitting up here saying whatever these motherfuckers put out here on media or whatever, we jump. We go with it without even doing any research, without even getting a second opinion, without even looking into some of the history of it. Any of that shit. Just say whatever and then everybody just jump at it and roll. As long as I can get up and go to work and continue to slave for these folks while they continue to make your life a living hell, raising up prices, raising this up, raising that up, destroying this, destroying that, telling you what to do with your children. All these fucking news. Look at all this shit. Where's peace at? Where is harmony at? Where's people coming together, genuinely trying to solve the problems? You'd never be able to do it until this fucking system is fucking washed clean. People so worried about, and it's sad because people so fucking worried about the wrong shit. Shouldn't be worried anyway if you claim you believe in God and you have faith in Jesus or faith in whatever deity you claim you say you have. Worrying and shit. I'm guilty of that bullshit too. But I get back on my square. Understanding faith without works is dead. Faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So how you gonna be worried about what the half the shit that's happening is because motherfuckers allowing it. So, like I said, I just had to get on here and get a rant in because I'm gonna go to this because this is just like with this past election with the Pennsylvania primaries, and you know what, I be forgetting my man name. Hold on 1 minute. Let me find it real quick. I be forgetting his name, but because half of these I can't pay attention to it because it's really, I pay attention to it, but I don't really stake much importance on it because it's false. Now this guy in I have to go to this shit because it makes, to me, it's kind of obvious. And it should be obvious to anybody, man. Yeah, John Fetterman, man. It's almost like unreal that you have people sit here and like, how do you even now people seeing what's going on? And the first thing people would say was, well, you can't judge a person because they just now. Okay, I understand that. You're right. You don't judge nobody. But here it is. You're sitting up voting for people supposedly to be the backbone of legislature in this country, from the commander-in-chief to those that are responsible for bringing up legislation that's supposed to benefit all Americans, supposedly, even the ones that didn't vote for them, supposedly. But here it is. Now, I don't know if a motherfucker saw this that debate, but the whole history of it, the motherfucker wasn't trying to debate, and it was something going on with Arizona where that Democratic person also won, and the Carrie Lake broad, the one who always running off her mouth talking about what the Democrats want doing, she lost, so she's challenging it about soon. But that lady also, that Democratic lady, did also debate, didn't do nothing. But yet everybody just seemed to vote for these characters, even though he got on there and was talking about crazy stuff. It didn't make sense, rambling on. Like, what? But yet you see people say these folks get in. And a lot of the stuff that they represent is fanatic, just like it's fanatic shit on the opposite side. So who's at fault for this shit? Could it be that people voted this crazy shit in for, I don't know, for whatever reasons it may be, or just motherfucker just simply, this is how it goes. People, they said, why does it seem like all the motherfucking people that want shit to go down in this country, that a lot of people have feelings about, far as encroaching on their freedoms, encroaching on their personal sovereignty, not only on themselves, on their children? Why does it seem like everybody is coming into offices that are against that shit? That they want everybody to walk to the same tune, bounce to the same drum. And it's not the drum that even resonates with your spirit. I know with me, I spiritually do not accept any of this shit that any of them talk about, because it doesn't even it doesn't resonate. It's just the feeling. You feel it deep within, in the heart, that all of this shit is corrupt, and that the day is coming when all of it will be revealed, and people will understand that they have been played, myself included, like fucking fools. It's sad, man. I just had to get on her. All the death in the world is happening. All of the every day, man. It's just sick of it. It's a world, man, built on fucking distrust, and it's showing, man. Our ancestors, I'm talking about everybody, all people on this fucking planet, man, probably looking like, God damn, what the fuck y'all do, man? But there's a little more to that, and hopefully I get to that. But I know they like, God damn, it's sad. It is fucking sad to a point where it's frightening. It's disgusting. It's disgusting the way they doing. Look at the shit with Pelosi. Now all of a sudden she's stepping down, and all these years, look at all the shit, how her name and her husband name been up in the news over the last couple of years. She was the main one telling everybody to lock their ass in while she out in the beauty salon getting her wig done, while everybody else sitting at home complaining. But you voting this sorry piece of shit in and listening to what the fuck she got to say. Sad. Then not only that, all the shady stuff with her and her investments and her husband and his investments, all that shit, all these old sideline trips to Taiwan, where the chip company and factory at that they making deals with, so they can sit up here and boast about securing Taiwan out, causing this shit with China purposely. All this shit happening within the borders of this country. Everybody's focus is outside, not what's happening here outside. That should be a fucking danger of itself. Like, damn, why are you motherfuckers so worried about what's going on everywhere else? But yet, everything that's happening here, that's falling apart, everything that's being found out to be corrupt, and you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to address it, you throw it off on the other side. That's both sides, just like they did with Trump and that clown show and the circus when they was in. Everybody's jumping around, screaming all that bullshit about the wrong being done. All these same motherfuckers coming out talking about they ain't with Trump and they condemn him and he don't need to be running no more. All these same Republicans, these same conservatives that were running their fucking mouth back before 2020, they were all on Trump jock. They were all on his nutsack, male, female, all those motherfuckers that was out back then that was, Scaramucci, all these motherfuckers. Duck Christie, all these motherfuckers that, oh yes, Trump is, what we got to do, we got to keep them, Hillary Clinton is this, that was the whole shit. While it was good then, they was with Trump, they talking all that fucking bullshit about what the other side doing and the lies and the Russia gate and all that bullshit. But now, take a look. A couple years later, these same motherfuckers talking bad about Trump, talking about he don't need to be. I mean, it's like you can't even make this shit. How can you trust people like this? How can you put your faith? How can you put your existential existence in the hands of supposed folks who are pushing policies? I ask that shit all the time to people. How do you do that? How do you base your life? Sometimes even base your spiritual growth and salvation or whatever. How do you put that shit on? How do you place that in the hands of those that sitting here on bullshit? How do you do that? How do you do? Not only do you do it with yourself, you do it with those around you. You do it with your children and everything else. If a person want to do it, I look at it like this. A person have free will. You want to do whatever, you want to think whatever, you want to make certain decisions, whatever, cool. Look yourself out. If this is how you feel, whatever, that's the whole concept of everybody having free will, but there's respect for all. But anytime you use that free will to disregard another person's right for that same action, you are fucking wrong. And how do you allow somebody else to do that to you? When especially if you know in your heart, you feel it just as much as you feel your heartbeat. How do you allow that to help lead you down a path to make decisions when you know from the beginning the shit you're giving is tainted? This shit, guy, I'm telling you, man, it's sad. It's disgusting what's going on. It's disgusting to see people out here acting like shit is that, because a lot of people feel like I ain't got no faith in none of these fucks. Period. People who think, well, who look at these folks, well, they might help people from staying home. None of that. I don't look for none of these government officials, none of these fake ass politicians, none of these so-called religious leaders, none of these so-called institutions that's supposed to be about justice or freedom or fighting for freedom, rights and all this shit, which that has been corrupted as well. Fighting for freedoms don't mean you fight for a freedom while disregarding other people's freedoms. Your freedoms become more important than somebody else's freedom. That's not fighting for freedom. Fighting for freedom is not calling out, trying to legitimize wrong in one group or the wrong in one group and not calling out all the wrong in all groups that affect all. That's not freedom. That's not justice. Hell, ask Martin Luther King what he said. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So how does that work? How does that work? People are sitting here scared to death, man. It hurts me so bad, man. I respect people's decisions on all this COVID stuff and all that stuff, but me personally, with despite all of the negative and all that shit that has happened, these folks did this shit. And people want to say, who is these folks? Who are these folks? Why don't you ask these Congress folks and all that shit? Why don't you ask all these people that have been pushing this shit for the last couple of years, extremely to the point of disregarding people's rights, livelihoods, and everything else? Why don't you ask them who these folks are? Matter of fact, why don't you ask them to show you they fucking stock market tickets? See how much stock they got in a lot of these sponsors. Sponsored by Pfizer, sponsored by Moderna, sponsored by AstraZeneca. You know, that's all you hear on a lot of these fucking news outlets and shit. From local to prime, cable, same shit. You know, a lot of hurtful, tragic shit took place in 2020 on up. I know I lost people. People were still dying this year because of the implications that started in 2020. And then when you add the pain that's felt across the planet, because we ain't the only ones. Americans, U.S. citizens, people that live in this country, however you want to look at yourself, you gotta stop looking at yourself being in the bubble. Everything that's been going on has been affecting everybody across this planet. People have feeling the pain of their loved ones. People feeling the pain of being scared to death every day because of the rhetoric, the propaganda being put out. And when it comes to this shit, this whole health thing, how the fuck can you sit here and say you trust these folks for your well-being and for your health and for your livelihood? And these folks have just been lying and caught up in lying. The institutions they represent, the people that have been the main characters that have been holding that message for the last couple of years have been caught up in scams, conspiracies, all this shit, turning out to be fact, not fiction. And people still listen to this shit. They then wonder why people like me and other people say what we say. I always say it. My parents were murdered. Everybody that died, according to this, from anything directly connected to this pandemic, were murdered. Whether you died in your sleep, mysteriously, that's how I look at it. Good person who really didn't have no issues or nothing, all of a sudden they take one in the arm, and then the next thing you know, all of a sudden they out of here. Like what? Get the fuck on, man. This is disgusting. Like I said, so disgusting. And then it makes you feel even worse because I know it's more. I don't know. I may not see it when I get on YouTube because I don't really be on here like, but I feel it and I talk to people out here, you know, people around me. A lot of people ain't stupid. A lot of people are clearly understand there's other stuff at play. And they're concerned because the concern affects not only them, but their family. People are fucking livid about some of this shit. But it seems also like, damn, it's like we forced to have to keep dealing with this shit because we got so many people that who control the supposedly it looks like that you know, so many people that's sleep. Even these woke folks that talk about they woke and run around here using that as a badge to do shit because you claim you so woke or whatever. I don't get that shit. You woke so you can go. You woke so it's cool to have transsexual people in schools, reading books and helping to teach children. But then you'll scream bloody murder because you see a teacher that's dressed in something so tight fitting, or they have a stripper, a female stripper. Get the fuck out of here. How the fuck is that? Get the fuck out of here. I've lost so much respect with people, far as people that I used to look up to, and people that represented something that I had respect for. I've lost all that. There is no respect for a lot of people, except the respect that you are created in the image of God. You deserve the right for free will to make choices, decisions unimpeded without anybody else telling you what the fuck to do, just like me and anybody else. But the respect that I have stops right there, because most of the shit that a lot of people that's doing, they're literally causing this shit in the black community. In the black community, a lot of black people, a lot of so-called brothers and sisters in the black community, they don't want to understand that just because we were enslaved and went through all that shit, you think that hollering that shit every moment, hollering that shit every time something happened, injustice or whatever, but yet you don't want to look at the root causes in our own communities, like the stupid shit that a lot of us do, and then we blame it on, oh, well, that's how the system was. Well, why the fuck are you still voting and helping to prop up the system that's doing that shit? I never get that shit. Never got it. Why? What sense does it make? Well, we got what system? What fucking sense does that make? Every time a police has police is this incident with black men or black women and the police, and someone is killed. The first thing is police violence. This, that, and third one, and a lot of people jump to that shit, including mainly in our community, without even looking at the whole totality of the whole total circumstances involved with that incident. They didn't have to kill that man. They didn't have to kill that woman. They could have did. What? And then you look at and find out, why did the man or why did the woman try to run the cop over or the cops over? Why did they come out with a knife? Why did they do this? Why did they do that? If you're a person with a weapon and you seeing somebody, you would do the same thing, or you would joyfully just sit there and let them kill you. Which, if a person say they would do that, you're a fucking liar. Black people in our community, the black community, are so stuck on this old ass way of thinking, this old ass system, that a lot of it was passed down, handed down through the generations of going along with this stupid shit, to a point, man, motherfucker don't even have any fucking means of thinking outside the box whatsoever. Just stay in the box. Just keep talking about what happened in slavery without no consideration, no historical consideration that there have been other extremely difficult moments in history that has affected other people outside of just black people. In Africa, black people, the descendants of Africans here. But like I said, when you start talking about that shit, nobody wants to listen to that. They'll rather just be in their own cushy little worlds that will build up by this fake ass shit that's falling apart. I mean, the first thing about slavery, why can't we talk about the Arabs? Why can't we talk about other African leaders that were selling slaves and all this shit? Why can't we talk about that? Black people need to stop that shit. Sitting up here giving all your fucking kudos away to and your energy away to a fucking system that does not give a fuck about you no more than they give a fuck about this same person of different color who made a fucking system of racism and white supremacy the prevalent dominant factor across the planet. And they still have to worry about motherfuckers behind the scenes that are using their ass just in just the same manner to keep this shit going. It's fucking disgusting. Fucking disgusting. It is so disgusting to see this shit. Here it is, all this shit going on. We headed toward the holidays, holidays. They expect people to still have that same spirit motherfuckers had 20, 30 years ago. You might have it. And I had a conversation with one of my homeboys the other day. Yeah, the children might have it. When it, because we already know what that meant, what it is. Eating, family, of course, Christmas time, you already know what that. But how the fuck? You got people, I don't even see how it be comfortable to even look at this stuff. Because when you do that, you deny what's happening around you. For a couple of cozy moments, oh yes, have a good Thanksgiving or a good Christmas, shit still falling apart. Shit still being done that is really illegal. Shit still being done immorally against not only myself, but all human beings around me. And it's sad. It's just fucking disgusting to see these folks constantly playing people, lying to people every day, using the media as a fucking tool to completely pull the wool over motherfuckers' faces, man, so far that you can't even see their chin. It's sad, man. And fuckers just bite the bullet and just roll with that shit like you don't have no fucking power, no hope, no means of no type of positive discourse. But as a matter of fact, let them tell it, you gotta die in order for you to live in peace. That's the only way you can achieve living in peace, living a fruitful, prosperous life is you have to die. You literally have to die in order to achieve peace. When you die and you go on to be with Jesus or God or however person want to look at that. You live you go through all this shit being misused, taken advantage of by your neighbors, by your governments, by your friends, family, hell, even oneself. I know, I've been there. I know this shit. Work in progress. Everything I'm saying is right back at my ass. I don't say nothing at time, and because I know I am not completely empowered to that level, but I'm working on it, and I see it, and I acknowledge it. I acknowledge my wrongs. This is so quick. Had never been a goddamn saint, but also have been ignorant. Even when I thought I had a little knowledge, still fucking ignorant. All this shit, man, disgusting. People out here struggling to make it day in and day out in other countries and everything. Same shit. People dealing with the energy debacle. They literally will have people freezing in their houses, telling them when to cut their heat on, telling people when to cut their water on, when to do this, when to do that. Never see the animals out here worried about motherfucker cutting the water off. They walk right up to a pool, puddle, creek, river, pond, marsh, start sipping. You never see that. Motherfuckers so out of touch and out of tune with regular people to a point where motherfuckers sit up and tell you what is best for you, buy electric cars, buy all this shit that's motherfuckers can't even afford a regular car. That's good gas. So what is the whole deal about getting an electric car? Can't even afford that, but want everybody to grab electric cars? Why? But people sit up there and they look at that shit and they, oh yeah, that's part of that thing. Yeah, it may be for you. Well, let's say if they do ban everything, they ban all fucking gas cars like that. That's shit that they're working on across the planet through their G20 and all these stupid ass organizations that this government and other governments across the planet continue to take part in with people who represent these groups at this G20 and all this shit. They ain't got nothing to do with your government. You didn't elect them. You ain't say, hey, look, we gonna listen to this guy. We want to follow him. We elected him. None of that shit. pushing for everybody to be in electric cars. So you got some stupid people out here, and I say stupid because you gotta be stupid to sit there and act like what your wants and what you think is gonna be good for you will be good and, for everybody else. You just walk past the motherfucker barely driving driving a car with the with a window smashed, tire bald, front end smashed in, motherfucker still using that car trying to get back and forth to work. And you sit up here talking about oh yeah, you know, the electric car to be doing that person ain't even got enough money to get that shit fixed on their car, but yet they supposed to be given the opportunity to get an electric car? Are you serious? Get the fuck out of here, man. Yeah, get electric cars. Then the same people in the black community that rush into that shit. What you gotta say when you do you know where the lithium come from? You probably have people speaking, got some of these dumbass politicians speaking in people's churches, talking about, yeah, we're gonna move for the EV revolution. People in the church, oh yes, yes. Do you know where them lithium batteries come from? We're the black people, we need to move on. Do you know where them lithium batteries come from? Do you know where they get the lithium from? That includes Tesla, the fake Tesla, you know, Elon Musk and all that shit. Well, you know where they get that shit for them batteries. You know who they use to get them batteries. Just same thing, same folks they use to get the diamonds and all that other shit. Do you know who they use? You know how much they probably get paid to do that? You know how much stress and how many lives probably been lost because it's dangerous and the chemicals and all that other shit? You think about that? No. And for the government and for the institutions to sit up there and back that shit, knowing that it's unsustainable, shows you how much they give a fuck. They just want people sitting up here jumping on the bandwagon, putting their energy behind something that in reality will not fucking work because it's not even sustainable. Just won't work. Why now anyway? So many years, motherfucker, been dealing with gas prices going up and down and controlling the market and all that shit. Why now? Hell, you had motherfuckers trying to bring up other options of using vehicles. Some with hydrogen, H2O, water. Hell, motherfuckers that try and do that shit end up missing. They work stove. You know, they criticize and their character assassinated. Why now? So why now all the motherfuckers want to push for electric vehicles? The fuck out of here. Electric vehicles when you already having problems with the electrical grid. What kind of fucking sense does that make? Well, they're gonna redo that ain't gonna do shit. These folks sitting up here and right here in the Detroit area in Michigan, these motherfuckers here are so fucking foolish in their thinking. Now all of a sudden the DT, look, all this shit has been happening over the years with power outages. Every time a storm come through, you know, the power get knocked out in various areas in Detroit, surrounding areas. DTE constantly having a fucking head knocked by people complaining. This has been an ongoing shit for years. People have lost, complained, and been losing food, losing this shit because the grid is totally fucked up. It's been fucked up. I don't give a fuck how much they talk. They get on and the governors and all that shit talking about we were working with DTE and consumers or whatever to establish. They haven't been doing that shit. These folks have been spending so much money everywhere else, they forgot about that type of shit. So now with people becoming more pissed with what's happening, now they want to start jump on the bandwagon. Now they didn't have motherfuckers out here in the neighborhoods cutting trees down, cutting lambs down around power lines. Trying to, you know, this is to put it out there and force to be seen like we're doing stuff. When this stuff could have been addressed years ago. Hell, motherfucker probably could be off of fucking bullshit of the electricity that they have now. They have the means to have wireless electricity. And that's a whole new topic. They know that shit exists. They know about it. People want to deny it all the fuck they want to. All they got to do is research shit. All they gotta do is look into it. Wireless energy. Now, if you have knowledge of that, why the fuck won't you do it when you know it's better for everybody? I don't know. Maybe because motherfuckers just want you caught up paying fucking bills every month, going to work trying to pay a bill that keep going up with no consideration to wages, to none of that shit. Everything going up, wages ain't going up. Then when people say fuck these jobs, people want to talk shit. Motherfucker got to get 2 or 3 jobs. Who want to work 2 or 3 jobs just to pay high ass bills? Shut the fuck up. And I say that shit because a lot of people that do that shit, that literally makes me fucking angry because you don't know the situation of a lot of people. So to sit up and just arrogantly talk that shit, especially like you got a hand or something to say in some shit, when a motherfucker, when the going get tough with a motherfucker, then your ass screaming and hollering and you want somebody to listen, and you'll still have some people with compassion be like, you know what, that's wrong. But you got so many people out here, they selfish, they only think about themselves, white, black, don't fucking matter who it is. Muslim, Christian, don't fucking matter. Israeli, American, don't fucking matter. Got people that only thinking about their own self-centered shit. So when stuff affects them, to a point where, they voice their opinion, they want to be heard. So you want that same respect as everybody else. But you got people out here that sit up here and just throw people to the curb because they don't want to, they don't understand because they limit the experiences to just what they have or what they experience, not to somebody else's experience, or not what somebody else has been through or what they're facing or what obstacles may be hindering them. Hell, some of the obstacles may be because of the people you voting in office that the same person might be cheering for that's causing this person to be fucked up. I don't know. It's just disgusting. And I just had to get on here this Sunday morning. It's cold out here. It's cold, man. It's 17 degrees. And I pray every day, man, more and more enlightenment, awareness come to all the people on this planet. And that those that are responsible for this corruption, both from the local to the federal levels, and all over the planet, all these leaders, all these fucking governments and all their the institutions that are a part of that shit, the people that are in these groups, the people that are, I pray for them, man. That they have the wisdom, the divine wisdom to make proper choices, whether it means calling out your own shit or whatever, man. Because this disgusting. This shit ain't right. So I pray for everybody that the truth continues to manifest, show itself. True colors of a lot of stuff begin to, and that people begin to understand their own part in this, man. I have a part in it. People around me have a part in it. I try to make my part be the best that I can. Not say that it's perfect at it, but the one is for everybody to be free, truly free, not free according to some false narrative. You free only when it's profiting somebody. Other than that, you got to do this. Well, that's not free. That ain't what the creator created. Human beings created them with freedom. I don't know, man. It's just disgusting what's going on. People could scream all they want to about that's the devil and Satan and all this shit, but like I said, all I've been seeing is a bunch of two-legged devils running around here. That's manipulating and doing everything, and then these so-called people who got consciousness and so-called spiritual uplifted people sitting right along with them, laughing and giggling and acting like it's cool in relationship with the devil. And it's fucking not only them up, it's fucking those up around them who may be of total different perspective or consciousness. People gotta be aware of this shit, man. Shit is not real what these folks have been doing. And people need to do diligence and start researching. Start researching shit, looking into stuff. Matter of fact, looking into stuff that these folks have lied and said that wasn't real, or it's a conspiracy and all that stuff. How can you even believe what the fuck they gotta say anyway? They lied about so much shit right in your fucking face, from science to education to politics. They have been sitting here lying. Even in religion, they have been sitting here lying. These same religions that everybody are the backbone of a lot of the murder and corruption that have been running rampant on this planet. It's okay to talk about the good things and about the spiritual good things and the blessings. Like I said, you got to go through hell. You got to actually live through all this bullshit before you achieve peace. That ain't what's the benefit of that shit? All because you're being an eternal being, you an eternal being already. This is a vehicle your true self is traveling and living in this existence in this outside vehicle. It's not me. You just see the vehicle. That part of a person never dies. That part of a person continues to move even when the vehicle is gone. And I'm gonna leave it right there. But people are out here sitting here, that spiritual consciousness, the comforter, the Holy Ghost. You know, everybody looking for all this other shit coming. If you got your fucking third eye open, if you got your fucking antenna rolling and you feeling shit, you know it, you sense it. It's not a fluke. I know. If something in your heart is telling you to push back, pull back, and let motherfuckers do their thing while you sit back at the scope, you're not alone. There's so many people out here got that feeling. They don't know exactly what to do. They don't really know exactly how to feel about it, but they know it's something going on. You're not fucking alone. Believe me, you're not alone. I had to get over that shit. I thought I was losing my mind over there some years ago before this shit happened, but it's not. This is where we're headed. It's the battle of light and dark. Been that way. So who are people going to allow themselves to be attracted to more? Light or dark? I guess that's the final answer. But I'm gonna get off of here. I just wanted to get on here and do my little rant. It's sad. It's upsetting to see everything that's happening, especially when I feel for people who still out here going through the things that they're going through. Everybody's going through the struggles and conflicts of everyday life, or dealing with them, whether personally, dealing with them with their family and friends, dealing with them with the society in itself. Those who are unhappy, those who feel lonely and depressed and this and that. And this goes out to all. Come on, women, men, it don't matter. Everybody's trying to impress and please other folks and denying their own damn self. I send nothing but love, man. I send love to everybody. And the hope and the prayers that blessings will come to many who sincerely look for change. And change begins in our thinking and in the way we perceive shit. With that comes spiritual advancement. It don't matter who you are, what you practice, whatever, it comes with it. There's plenty of Christians, plenty of Muslims who sit up and look at their institutions that they represent, how far it has gone, how far people have done away with the core tenets and are doing shit based on whatever. And so the whole spiritual aspect of it is tainted, it's corrupt, it's no longer useful. So you have people in all these religions that still hold on to the core. They know what's up. But I guess the masses just continue to act like, oh yeah, you know. I just say, man, I just send love to everybody out here, man, all over the planet, wherever you're from. Those dealing with that bullshit in Brazil, those dealing with the bullshit in the Netherlands, those dealing with the bullshit in France, those dealing with the bullshit in New Zealand, those dealing with the bullshit in Africa, Nigeria, Congo, those dealing with the bullshit in Haiti, those dealing with the bullshit in America, those dealing with the bullshit in Canada, those dealing with the bullshit in Russia, those dealing with the bullshit in Ukraine, those dealing with the bullshit in China, those dealing with the bullshit in Great Britain, all over. Hell, I don't care where. Even in places that people probably don't even know exist. Those who are going through the bullshit, I said nothing but love and peace. Prayers that the blessings of truth and change come. Truly. And with that, I'm gonna get off here. I didn't ran it enough. And I leave as I came, greeting universal words of peace.